All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another NBA regular season video. In this video, we're going to talk about Mondays, primetime games, Tuesdays, primetime games, break them down a little bit, talk about some players, talk about some thoughts I have about these teams. We're about, what would you say? How many games are we in now? We're uh, about 20 games in for almost all the teams. Talk about them a little bit. So if you like what I say, like the video. If you have any opinions, comment down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. So I know this video is a little late. You're probably asking, why are you talking about Monday night games and Tuesday night games on Thursday? Well, we had the Chris Paul stuff yesterday. If you want to check out that video, I'll put a card in the top right corner. It will take you right to the Chris Paul video where I just kind of rant about why the Clippers would even like think waving Chris Paul was a good idea. Um, that deserved its own video. I didn't really want to stack it on the back or the front of any of these videos that I usually do. So you guys are getting this video talking about the primetime games today instead of what would have been yesterday. Um, yeah, and I believe this is my 240th video as well, which is crazy to think about. There's been 240 videos on this channel already. Um, the views keep going up, so if you like these videos, you can stick around. There'll be plenty of them. There's a whole lot of basketball left in this season. But let's jump into tonight or the other nights. We have Chicago, Chicago Bulls in Orlando to play the Magic. We have the Phoenix Suns in LA to play the Lakers, and then on Tuesday night we had the Celtics um, versus the Knicks in the Boston Garden, and then we had the Thunder going up to San Francisco to play the Warriors. These are all pretty good games. I'm not gonna lie. Some of the final box scores look a little skewed, but actually only one of them looks really skewed. The Suns Lakers one looks really skewed, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Um, let's talk about Bulls Magic first. I have some notes. I'm gonna try to keep this a little shorter, but we'll see how it goes. I always say that, and then it turns into like a 40-minute video. But I'll try to condense some of these games because some of them, even though they were close, I try not to describe close games as much because it doesn't do anything. If I just tell you it's close, you have to believe me. You have to believe me at this point. Um, that being said, early on in this game, early on in this game, Franz Wagner for the Orlando Magic was absolutely toying with Josh Giddey of the Chicago Bulls. They both play somewhat similarly. I think, well, I know Giddey's the far better passer, but they're both a bit string beanish. They're both longer. Um, they're both high IQ players, and Franz was really going to work on Josh Giddey in the first like in the starting minutes of this game. Um, Franz ended the game with two steals and one block. Um, and Josh Giddey ended the game with, let's see how many turnovers, 8 turnovers. Those all weren't because of Franz Wagner, but a large part of them came early in this game, and the turnovers were a huge part of this game overall for the Bulls, not just Josh Giddey. Um, and then going throughout the course of this game, um, into like the end of the first quarter, beginning of the second, and then people start rotating in, the bench starts getting in. Um, the Magic, man, the Magic having the Magic are missing some players, and let me preface that with they are missing some players. They're missing their key player in Paolo Banchero, and they've looked pretty decent without Paolo. But man, oh man, when Jalen Suggs is out there for them, um, as like the lone superstar, or I shouldn't even say superstar, as the lone like core player for them, starting five player, when it's like Jalen Suggs and like Tyus Jones and like Anthony Black and then like Jonathan Isaac and then maybe like Wendell Carter, it's probably Goga Badatse. When Jalen Suggs is the only guy out there who actually gets starter minutes, um, and he's asked to be the primary scorer for that second unit, it looks awful. It drives me up a wall because like Jalen Suggs is a nice player. He's a really good player. Defensively, he's way more superb at defense than he is at offense. But man, sometimes his offense looks really rough. And now that I'm speaking about it, I'm talking about it out loud. It really does remind me a lot of Marcus Smart when Marcus Smart was on the Celtics. And they would ask Marcus Smart to do like a little bit of ball handling, like a little bit of shot creation way less than what Jalen Suggs is asked to do on this Orlando Magic team. But I would just shake my head sometimes and be like, this guy is not. He's not a point guard. He's just not. He's an off guard. He's a defensive, get you a bucket, get hot sort of type of player. He's not your main lead guard. And if you're asking him to be your main lead guard, it's just not going to work. It just looks bad. He doesn't have the feel. He has such a feel defensively for like the smart IQ plays, but offensively he just can't turn that switch to the offensive side of the ball. And there were games last year, playoff games last year, regular season games last year, where he got really hot from three and he looked really good. But asking him to be the lead guard, especially when you have Desmond Bane, who's a better ball handler, who has definitely better shot selection than Jalen Suggs, um, is rough. And this is the only place where Jalen Suggs kind of fits is at the point guard spot because you got rid of Cole Anthony this past summer. Um, Tyus Jones hasn't had the greatest start to his Magic career. We'll touch on another guy who I think should be handling the ball more, in Anthony Black. Um, but man, when Jalen Suggs was at, the offense just looked ugh, and especially when he was the only ball handler out there, it was ugh. Continuing on here, um, with my next point is that when Desmond Bane and Anthony Black were out there, and it was just whoever, whatever the combination was out there, but Anthony Black and um, and Desmond Bane were out there for this Magic team. And it didn't matter the combination, just those two out there alone looked really good last night. Desmond Bane ended the game with 37 points, 3 of 7 from three, 5 assists, 1 steal, 6 rebounds. Anthony Black had 22 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, 2 blocks. Desmond Bane also had a steal on the night. And I, I, I really, I don't know what it was, but like this, it's a wing duo. This wing duo of Desmond Bane and Anthony Black just looks so good, especially in comparison to what like Jalen Suggs was doing, sort of some black hole basketball where he was just good at chucking shots or throwing a pass too far, and versus what what Paulo does when he's out there, when he's healthy for the Orlando Magic, he gives some black hole energy, just like sucking up possessions, using the full shot clock to get his shot off, and sometimes it's a bad shot anyway. To see Anthony Black and Desmond Bane just going out there and gunning and spacing the floor and getting downhill sometimes as well was a really welcome sight, and it's something to think about and monitor because Anthony Black probably isn't a starter on this team. But if you could rely on Anthony Black to be your sixth man type of off the bench scorer, and you could throw him out there with Desmond Bane, with Franz Wagner, and have Suggs and Paulo on the bench and sort of rotate the starting five like that. Get Anthony Black in, send Suggs to the bench, send Franz to the bench, get Anthony Black in. And obviously they have some other players here who I'm not too high on, but I think come playoff time, come um, postseason push time, are going to be really good, or at least somewhat serviceable. Not really good, just somewhat serviceable. I feel like Tyus Jones can turn that corner. Um, I feel like Noah Penda has looked really good. Um, let's see here. Tristan da Silva. Tristan da Silva didn't play this game. Oh no, he did. He started, but he didn't. That that's why I didn't realize he was out there. He had 0 points on the night. Tristan da Silva did not have his best night, but I like Tristan da Silva a lot personally. Middle left of your screen, and yeah, I really like this team with Black and Bane out there. That was that was one of the best duos out there. The other night was Black and Bane. Um, moving on to the Chicago Bulls side of things, here, one of the few things that were positive for the Bulls was Josh Giddey. Man, Josh Giddey, he's a real shooter now. Going from somebody who really wasn't respected as a shooter at all, he's become an above average, above decent 3 point shooter. Ended the night with 22 points, 3 of 6 from three, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. The 8 turnovers are still there, but I think that's just a matter of who else was out there for the Bulls, and they couldn't catch the passes that Josh Giddey was throwing to them. Um, 3 steals, 1 block for Josh Giddey as well. Um, really positive stuff for Josh. The Bulls have started to trend downwards after that pretty electric start they had earlier this season, I should say. Um, it's not Josh Giddey's fault. It's not Montes Buzelis' fault. It's not um, Julian Phillips' fault. Those young guys who are playing their role and playing very well. Montes Buzelis 21 that night. Julian Phillips 10 points that night. Um, it's the rest of the guys. It's the Nikola Vucevic. Nikola Vucevic had a pretty decent night. 20 points. Let's see who else is here. Trey Jones, 20 points. Brother of um, Tyus Jones. So you have a sibling matchup there the other night. It's these other guys, man. Patrick Williams, and this is my next note as well. Patrick Williams is just ass. He's just so bad. Every time I literally forget whenever I talk about the Bulls or I think about the Bulls, I literally just forget Patrick Williams is on this team. Like he's such a nothing burger to me. Like I just don't think about him. I'm just like, oh, okay, so when you think of players like, oh, they're the future, oh, they're the now, oh, they're on the last end of their career. Patrick Williams is just there. He's just literally there to collect the check, and that's all he does is just stand there. And he had 6 points. He was 2 of 4 from three. He had 6 rebounds. He had 0 personal fouls. He had 0 steals, 0 blocks, but he had 2 turnovers. Like he's just out there, and it's really depressing to see where he is. And I can't even say it's like a coaching decision fault because he's had 2 different coaches. Um, he just looks so out of it. He just doesn't look like he has the NBA mentality. He's just out there, and he just does stupid stuff. And like this game happened on Monday, and I can't really recall the stupid stuff that he did. But every time I watch him, I'm like, oh my god, how is this guy in the NBA? Like Patrick Williams is the type of player that if you were to turn on an NBA game, right, as somebody who's a casual watcher, like how the hell is this guy in the NBA? I could be in the NBA. He gives you those vibes of like you could think as an average Joe that you could be in the NBA because he's in the NBA and he's 6 foot whatever. If you're 6 foot, what is he? 6 foot six, 6 foot, yeah, 6 foot 6, something like that. 6'6", yeah, 6 foot 6 on the money, 215 pounds. You could be in the NBA too. um, let's go through some numbers here before we get to the end of this game. Montes Buzelis 21, Nikola Vucevic 20. These are all Bulls players. Ayo Dosunmu 18, 4, 6, and 3. Had some really good moments. Emmanuel Miller 3 points. Julian Phillips 10. I like Julian Phillips. He has an edge to him. That's the other thing about Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams has no edge. He doesn't care. Guys like Julian Phillips, who this is literally like his 20th NBA game of his career, actually care more than Patrick Williams cares. Um, Albright here. I when I was watching this game, I was getting Albright and Montes Buzelis confused because they literally look the exact same. Um, and I was like, "What the hell is Montes Buzelis doing?" And then I realized, "Oh no, that's not Montes Buzelis. It's Albright." um, Trey Jones 20, and then Javon Carter 0 points. Um, as a team, they shot 43% from three, 50% from field goal, and 73% from the free throw line. And for the Orlando Magic, 25 points for Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter 17, Desmond Bain 37, Suggs 10. Didn't only hit 2 threes, took 10 of them. Just stop taking them, please. Jonathan Isaac 1 point, yay. Noah Penda, who a lot of Magic fans really like, 5 points. Goga Badatse 8. Tyus Jones 0, 6 assists though. Tyus Jones was like the complete opposite of Jalen Suggs when he was out there because Tyus Jones was literally just setting people up and he didn't care about getting a bucket, which is really good. Anthony Black 22, Jet Howard 0. Um, coming down the stretch here of this game, um, they really started slugging it out. The final score of this is Chicago Bulls 120, Orlando Magic 125. And there was some late game antics. There was like um, a late timeout call from one of the coaches. Um, there was just a lot of weird stuff that went on. Um, but it ended up in a Magic win, and they improved to 13-8, 8-3 at home, and the Bulls regress to 9-11, 3-9 in away games. So not great for them, not great. So moving on to the nightcap game for Monday, the 1st of December. Phoenix Suns were in LA to play the Lakers. And man, oh man, do I have thoughts about this game? I have thoughts. I have feelings. I have so many things to say. And I want to preface this game by saying the Phoenix Suns are now 13-9, and the Lakers are 15-5. So there were no real losers of this game. There were only winners because the Lakers didn't sink too far deep. Um, this wasn't like a critical loss for them. It was just one of those regular season losses where you just get jumped by the better team, by the team that wants it more. And Phoenix, really showing they're a team that coming down the middle part of the season here. You're gonna look at it on your schedule and be like, oh, we gotta play the Suns. We gotta play the Suns. They're just annoying. They're an annoying team, and the main guy who's the most annoying on this team because now he's a real offensive threat and he's always been a defensive threat is Dylan Brooks. Before we get into any notes I have here, Dylan Brooks played 33 minutes on Monday night. He had 33 points. He was 15 to 26 and he was from field goal and he was 2 of 7 from 3-point range. He had he had 2 rebounds, 2 assists. And you might say, "Oh, these percentages are bad. These splits are bad." They are bad. But let me tell you, you watch this game, every shot that he took and made, they needed it. And they won this game because of Dylan Brooks. And I never thought those words would leave my mouth, especially offensively. Because Dylan Brooks could always win you games defensively. But offensively, Dylan Brooks looks so freaking good. And I said this in a couple videos when I talked about the Phoenix Suns last time. I was like, oh, Dylan Brooks is showing me something. I really like his offensive bag. It's kind of awkward. It's kind of like he keeps the ball really low to the ground and then he brings it up all the way. And like his mid range looks really crisp. It looks really good. And he was like, this is so awkward. And teams aren't really scouting Dylan Brooks' offense. But these next 20 games, we've already played 20, these next 20, they're going to start scouting Dylan Brooks' offense. He's going to be on the scouting report. Um, let's talk about my notes here because I have a couple of notes and then I have thoughts as well. The defense by the Suns was really good this game. It was high level and it was high effort. Um, Devin Booker did leave this game with a quad injury, a quad like a thigh quad injury. He only played 10 minutes. So that left Royce O'Neal, Dylan Brooks, Mark Williams, Colin Gillespie, and then like they subbed in like Jordan Goodwin and like Ryan Dunn and like some of these other guys to play some other minutes to subsidize the missing Devin Booker minutes. But their defense was really good, and that's what really kept them in this game, and I think that's what um, really annoyed the Lakers because you kind of come into this game if you're the Lakers and you do take this team seriously because again, even before this game, what they were 12-9, so yeah, they were 12-9. You take this Phoenix Suns team kind of seriously, um, but I feel like the Lakers just fell asleep on this one. Like you could tell they wanted to try and but they just fell asleep and um, this is a note I have later in this, but the analogy that always gets thrown around is like, oh, this team looks like it's in quicksand. This Lakers team was not in quicksand. They were just in sand. Like they were just in regular sand, like running up a sand hill, a sand dune. Because like they could get the power in there, they could get the momentum to get going up the hill, and then they get halfway up the hill, and then they just and it really starts burning at that point. You're like, oh God, ooh, and it just wasn't good. They wanted it, and this was a close game. Again, the final score doesn't really reflect this. In the closing quarter here in the fourth quarter, the Suns had 29 points and the Lakers had 31. So it was closer in that respect as well. But by the time the Lakers got it close, they were just gassed. They were done, and I have some other notes here. um, I told you Devin Booker didn't return, but once Devin Booker, did I say Dylan Booker? Devin Booker didn't return. It was confirmed he wasn't returning. They obviously told Dylan Brooks, and Dylan Brooks picked it up even more because Dylan Brooks had it going when Devin Booker was out there, playing. But then once Devin Booker went to the back, got checked out, they said he's not going to come back. They must have told Dylan Brooks, and Dylan Brooks turned it up another notch. Um, he continued to just abuse every defender of the Lakers throughout him. Um, at some points, it did work effectively. He went on streaks where he was pretty cold, but then he would heat right back up again. And the thing about Dylan Brooks is there's no lack of confidence there for Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks is confident on the defensive end and is becoming more and more confident. Every single night he has games like this, 33 points. He'll become more confident offensively as well. And that's a dangerous place to be when you're Dylan Brooks. And by dangerous is a positive dangerous because if you can find the balance between the offense and the defense and the antics, because he does engage in some antics on the court, and the foul trouble, if you can balance all that, Dylan Brooks is like a core player for the Suns team coming down the latter half of this decade. The Dylan Brooks Devin Booker team. Who would have thought? Um, I told you the Lakers looked like they were in sand. They just you could tell they had some really good moments. Luka obviously was trying to will them to this win. Luka was Luka 38 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 9 turnovers. Not great. That's because of the Suns' defense as a whole, as a team. Um, he tried, and nobody else tried. And the problem was the Lakers were getting so worked up offensively, and they were trying to get something going, just not through Luka, like because they knew Luka was carrying this burden, and they tried to get it going through like Austin Reeves, through like Rui Hachimura, who had 0 points, through DeAndre Ayton, who had 12 points, through these other guys they have, and they just couldn't get anybody else going, and they just said, okay, Luka, carry us, and Luka did carry them, um, but they were getting gas defensively too because Colin Gillespie, man. The second year player. Where is he out of? I didn't know where Colin Gillespie's out of. Where is he out of? Is he out of Villanova? Of course he's a Villanova guy. Of course he's a Villanova guy. Oh my god. Okay, out of Villanova, second season, 1999. Um, born in 1999, 6'1". This kid, man. This kid. This guy. This guy. He was looking like prime Clay Thompson out there. He was catching and he was firing, and it looked good and it was cash every single time. Every single time. He ended the game with 28 points. He was 10 of 9 from field goal, 8 of 14 overall from three, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, only 2 turnovers. He had 2 steals. A really great night that night for Colin Gillespie. And I saw this a little bit last year with that Suns team. Um, I was like, oh, that kid Colin Gillespie, he's good. He's a little shooter, a little spark plug. Now that he's been starting and he's got more attempts and more opportunity, he looks really good. He looks like at least like a competent guard, whether that's the off guard or the point guard or whatever. He looks damn good. And yeah, and I said this. I said this when I was watching this. He's like, if he keeps not, I'm not expecting him to score 28 points a game, and I'm not a big fan of giving most improved player to second year players, but he looks like a most improved player candidate. He looks really good. Like that's how good he looks. And he has his bad nights. He has his good nights, like he did the other night. But when he's got it going, man, he looks effortless. It looks effortless. Um, let's let's stop talking about the Suns here. Um, and let's talk about the Lakers because I haven't talked about the Lakers much. Because there's nothing really to say about the Lakers. Again, it looked like they were in sand. Um, one of the biggest things that I noticed, and I don't I try not to talk about it too much because the person I'm going to talk about is 40 years old. LeBron James. Ah man, LeBron. This is the first time I watched LeBron James, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's washed. It's over. It's over. Let me read you some stats here. 3 of 10 overall from field goal. 1 of 4 from three. 3 or 4 from the free throw line. 3 turnovers. 3 assists. Um, 2 personal fouls. That's it. That's the stat line. And I watched this game, and it looked like LeBron was checked out. It looked like he had checked out before he even got in the game. I know he arrived to the arena like 3 hours early to get his work in, get his treatment in. He should have just not played this game. He looked bad. There was no point in him playing. He looked so disengaged this game. He looked so uninterested in playing this game last night. Um, and I get it. I said this at the top of this section. It was like it's one of these regular season games where you just get jumped. The other team wants it more. You're just kind of like on the second night of a back to back. You're tired. You don't care. You should care, but you're just like okay, whatever. 40-year LeBron James probably thinks that more than anybody because he's 40 years old. But man, this is the first time where I watched LeBron, and it's not like he was coming off an injury. It's not like he had got injured and came back in the game. It wasn't like it was like this like anomaly of a game. He started the game bad, and he played the whole game. He played 31 minutes this game, and he looked bad. And the only thing that kept him in the game was he has a 10 points or more streak dating back to before the iPhone. So this is a long time, a multi-decade streak of 10 plus point games. The only reason he played in this game and continued to play in this game was to get that record, and he checked out after he scored 10 points. He scored 10 points off the 1 3 he made. Um, and then he left. And he was just so disengaged this game. It was so jarring to me personally as somebody who like isn't a LeBron James fan, but like obviously I'll watch him if he's on. I was like, damn, he's really 40 years old and he doesn't give a he doesn't give a damn right now. And you have guys like Luka. He's fighting for his life out there. He's like, I need somebody to help me. Somebody help me, and nobody could help him. Not even 40-year-old LeBron James could help Luka the other night, which is crazy. Um, and not even his Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, the highest scoring duo in basketball right now. Austin Reeves couldn't even help Luka the other night. Um, so yeah, the Lakers called it a game with 4 minutes left in the fourth. They sent in the bench players, and that was it for this game. That was it. Um, Phoenix Suns won this game 125 to Lakers 108. Let's move on to Tuesday night, Knicks versus Celtics. Also, before we do, Dylan Brooks, top right, middle right of your screen, by the way, number 3. Because some of you probably don't know who Dylan Brooks is. You guys probably do know who Dylan Brooks is. So yeah, moving back to, I should say, Knicks versus Boston. This had a lot of historical value. This game, the 500th matchup between these two franchises, dating back to I believe the 1960s. So this was the 500th matchup in total. I believe that counts playoffs as well. Um, a lot of historical value in this game. They were up in Boston, and Boston won this game 123 to the Knicks 117. And this game was this game was so interesting because I think we're all starting to realize something about the Knicks, and I'm going to touch on it later. But as I'm talking you guys through this game, I want you to think about the New York Knicks right this year, and think about some things that you may not like or like about them, as I talk about them here. And then you'll get the vibe that I'm going to give off here in a minute or two. Um, this whole first quarter was the Knicks, and it looked like the Knicks were going to run away with this. The Knicks looked really good. They looked perhaps the best against some high level competition I've seen in the first quarter. They outscored the Celtics by 11 points, 32 to the Boston Celtics 21. Wasn't a huge lead, but wasn't a close game really. It looked like the Knicks were going to run away with it. And then in the second half, the Celtics mounted a comeback. In the second quarter, pardon me, the Celtics mounted a comeback. It was all Jaylen Brown. It was all Jaylen Brown. And throughout the offseason, I had my questions about Jaylen Brown. Could he be a number one guy? Could he carry this team a little bit? And I think the answer is yes, but not every night. And I don't think you need it every night. I think you just need it like nights like Tuesday night, where Jaylen Brown played 40 minutes. He had 42 points. He was 2 of 6 from three. He was 16 of 24 from, from field goal. He was 8 of 9 from free throw, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. Um, had some really high level defensive plays, and he really drove this team to this win. Like he drove them up to the house, opened the door, and let the rest of the Celtics in, and let the rest of the Celtics in, into the Knicks' house. Metaphorically, of course, because the Celtics were at home. Um, and the Knicks just didn't. They put up a fight. I will say the final score is 117 to 123. So the Knicks did put up a fight, but the the Knicks just don't. The Knicks just don't have that grit anymore, man. And it's we're 20 games in now. We're 20 games in, 20 plus games in now, and I can confidently say the Knicks just don't have that edge anymore. That edge that Tom Thibodeau brought to this team as the coach is what the Knicks needed. That's what New York is. That's what New York basketball is. New York Knicks basketball is grit, is all this stuff, and a lot of these guys still embody that. You know, Josh Hart embodies that. Um, Mikal Bridges embodies that. Um, a lot of these guys still embody that, but the team just has lost this edge in that grit that they had. That maybe if they had that edge in that grit, this game would have been an overtime game. They would have lost in regulation. But I just I can't find anything positive about their attitude except for the few players that I mentioned already. The team just looks so flat, and I think it's a learning process because they have a new coach. I'm a big fan of Mike Brown. I like Mike Brown a lot as a coach. Mike Brown does have a tendency to be a bit more laid back at times. Other times he's been thrown out of games as a coach. He's gotten teed up. He's gotten thrown out of games. He's gone to the podium and been mad and all this stuff. And I think Coach Brown does have um, grit, but he doesn't want to push it too much on these guys yet because they just came off of being coached by Tom Thibodeau, who was all serious all the time basically, and no fun. It was basketball, basketball, basketball. None of the fun stuff, right? And I think there is room for that fun stuff if you are this next team, but you're sort of you're dancing. You're 13-7 right now. You're dancing around that marker of like 500. You're dancing around it, and I don't know their schedule. I can actually look at their schedule if I really wanted to here. Um, oh, I clicked an ad. Whoopsies. Let's see the schedule here. So they just played the Celtics, um, and then they played the Hornets yesterday. So Wednesday they won against the Hornets. Good. You should win that game. Um, then it starts getting a little tougher heading down the rest of December here. Heading up to Christmas, yeah, Christmas, yeah. Heading up to Christmas, you have Utah, you have Orlando, you have Toronto, you have Indiana, you have Philly, you have Miami, you have Minnesota. Let's see, one, two, three, five. That like there are 5 games in there that are gonna like test your grit and test your metal, and I'm not sure the Knicks have it, man. I don't know. I the stuff that I've been listening to from other people that cover the NBA, they feel the same way. Like this team just doesn't have it anymore. They lost it. Um, it just feels so weird to say because I think genuinely a lot of these guys are really competitive. I think Mikal Bridges is competitive. Josh Hart is obviously very competitive. Puts his body on the line almost every game. Jalen Brunson is very competitive. Um, Miles McBride very competitive as well. Um, but then you got guys like Karl Anthony Towns. I think Karl Anthony Towns is competitive, but man, can he not just like stay in games? Like he has to get pulled like 3 minutes early from like every half because he picked up a foul that he probably shouldn't have gotten. You have guys like Jordan Clarkson who haven't looked like they thought they would. You have guys like Mitchell Robinson who's can I be honest? Can I be honest? Can I be honest about Mitchell Robinson? Can I say something about Mitchell Robinson? I've been holding back for like my whole channel's existence. Mitchell Robinson is a clown. I do not like Mitchell Robinson. I think this team would be so much better without Mitchell Robinson. Okay, I just need to get that off my chest. Um, Mitchell Robinson provides nothing except offensive and defensive rebounding. That's all he provides. He had 1 point this game. One in 16 minutes. 1 point. Not because he had not he didn't he didn't play 16 minutes because he had like 5 fouls or something. He had no fouls. The Celtics were fouling him and sending him for the free throw line every other possession. And they said, we can't play you, Mitchell Robinson. You're shooting a historically low 15 to 16%. In NBA history, that is the lowest in NBA history, 15 to 16% from the free throw line. You have to come sit on the bench. Crazy. Um, anyways, this team just doesn't have it anymore. And I think they would have to get some really favorable matchups in the playoffs and face teams that just are equally as not gritty as them, you know. And the Knicks could sort of like bully them a little bit because if you run into the Celtics team in the playoffs, it might go 7 games. um, moving on here to the third quarter for the Celtics. This is when it really started getting out of control. The Celtics dominated the third quarter with their threes, which they want to do all this season. Just shoot the ball. If we get hot, we get hot. And we can expand the lead. They did that, but their defense was really good as well. Um, they did have trouble um, guarding Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges started heating up a little bit for the Knicks. The Celtics started showing some cracks about midway through the fourth. That's when Mikal Bridges really got going. Mikal Bridges ended the game with 35 points, 2 steals, 3 assists, 6 rebounds, and the the big duo that um, tried to close this game up for the Knicks was Karl-Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges. They were the best duo on the floor that night. Bridges and Cat, they were the best duo. Jalen Brunson really didn't have it. He was forcing it a little bit, but I will give Jalen Brunson credit. He did just take his hands off and say, "Hey, you know what? I don't have it tonight. You guys take it." Right? Jalen Brunson, 15 points, 6 of 21 from field goal, 1 of 8 from three. 11 assists though, so really good stuff. 1 steal, 3 turnovers, not great. But Jalen Brunson, give a lot of credit. A lot of people couldn't do it. Say, hey, you know what? It's a close game. Mikal Bridges, you got it. Karl-Anthony Towns, you got it. I'm gonna trust you guys, my two teammates. You know, and the Knicks gave it a good effort. They really did. Overall, to end the game here, Karl-Anthony Towns 29 points, Josh Hart 19, Mikal Bridges 35. Um, Jalen Brunson 15, Miles McBride 9. Nothing off the bench for the Knicks really, but for the Celtics, um, Nemezi. I think it's the Nemeza, not Nemezi, Nemeza. Uh, excuse me, Kada, um, 8 points. Derek White 22, 1 steal, 1 block, 5 assists. Jaylen Brown 42 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. Peyton Pritchard 10, Jordan Walsh 8, um, Josh Minot 11, Anthony Simons 12. Um, Something else I do want to note here that I noticed in this game, and that has been brought to my attention as well, is that Jordan Walsh for the Celtics, kind of like a gadget defender, like can guard like 1 through 5, and like occasionally will like hit a couple clutch shots. Something a name to just write it down, think about it. Jordan Walsh giving me. I want to say this, and this is a really specific example that is very odd, but he reminds me of like Matisse Thybulle on those Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons Sixers team. Like not a lot offensively, can give you something every now and then, but defensively, really good, really good. Um, and then let's see. Yeah, that's it for the stats. The Knicks gave it a try, man. I just, again, I don't know about the grit. I just don't know. Maybe as the season goes on, they're gonna have one of these really critical losses, and like Mike Brown's gonna snap and be like, okay, now we need to stop playing around. We need to lock in, and he's gonna like dig into some guys and be like, Cat, you need to be better. This, you need to be better. Or on the other side, maybe they don't need to do that. Maybe they're just gonna trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Giannis is gonna fix all their defensive problems, all their grit problems, and Karl-Anthony Towns is gonna be in Milwaukee, and Giannis is gonna be in New York. because that's the reports that came out yesterday was that Giannis wants to be traded, supposedly, allegedly. So maybe that's the Knicks' plan is just to trade for Giannis. Um, let's wrap it up here. The last game of the evening on Tuesday, the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Golden State Warriors. This game was a lot closer than I think anybody thought it would be. The Oklahoma City Thunder got the win, 124 to the Warriors, 112. I do not have a lot of notes, um, but I will give thoughts. My first note, however, is that the Warriors hung around. This note was made in the first quarter, and it says the Warriors still hanging around so far. They managed to do this the whole game. Just hang around. Literally, just hang around. At times, they led this game by like a point, 2 points, 3 points. And it looked like they might win it. And then the Thunder were like, okay, that's cute. Give us the lead back. And they just took the lead back. um, and the thing about this game, and my other note here is that Shea Alexander just chilling, not trying too hard. They're up 10. Shea and everybody was just going through the motions. Um, and it's so this is the thing about championship teams, right? Like the Oklahoma City Thunder are the reigning champs. You go back to like um, the Celtics a couple years ago. You go back to the Warriors a couple years ago. You go back to those dynastic Warriors teams. There were nights where like other teams would try like 110%. They would try their butts off and they were like, "We're gonna beat the champs. We're gonna do it. We're up 2 possessions in the fourth quarter. We can do it." And then they were just like the reigning champs, the team that was picked to win the game. Um, not by obviously picked. I mean, like was favored in like the odds and stuff by the bookmakers, and like general consensus would probably tell you like Oklahoma City Thunder were gonna win this game regardless how the Warriors played, whether they played really well or badly. But you look at these championship teams, the Oklahoma City Thunder were just toying with the Warriors the whole night, and it was so weird to see this Warriors team. They were without Steph Curry last night. Um, they were without a couple other guys last night, but the Warriors are trying so hard. You could tell they were trying so hard. Jimmy Butler was out there trying so hard. Draymond Green was out there trying so hard, and a couple of other guys were out there trying. And the Thunder just were like, we're going about 85%, 90% right now. We got a 10-point lead. We're okay. And they were just going through the motions, and they looked as good as they ever did. Um, my second note here, I believe this is the third quarter. I said I like the Warriors' effort. I don't know if they can get within a possession or two. Um, and then in the third, towards the end of the third, they got within one possession with like 1 minute, 30 seconds left in the third quarter. Um, And then at the start of the fourth, the Warriors defense is really good. This is when I started believing, oh, they might be able to beat them. And Pat Spencer for the Warriors, number one lacrosse player in the nation at one point. Pat Spencer, um, had 17 points. He was 8 of 14 from field goal, 1 of 1 from three. He had 6 assists, 3 rebounds, no turnovers. Yeah, the one of the or the number one lacrosse player decided to play basketball and just occasionally shows up for like 15 plus points a night. Crazy stuff, crazy stuff. Uh, really happy for Pat Spencer. Because he's just he's such a weird character. He's such an odd character. Like you look at Pat Spencer, like you play basketball. Like I don't know. He gave the reigning champ 17 points. And like 10 of those points are like in a row, like in succession. Crazy. Um, other numbers for the Warriors: Jimmy Butler not a great night, 6 points. Draymond Green 13 points, hit like two threes in a row back to back. Crazy. Moses Moody 3, Brandon Podzinski 17. Will Richard 5, Seth Curry 14, Gary Payton the second 13, Buddy Hield 13, Pat Spencer 17. The bench was arguably better than the starters last night, which is crazy for the Warriors because they've had a lot of bench issues at times, not knowing who to go to and maybe trusting some players, Brennan Podziemski, a little too much um, when other players should be out there. Um, and then my last note here is the Warriors so close, but so far. It was a good effort. Oklahoma City just way better. They were way better. And to close it out here, I'll read you some of the numbers for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Chet Holmgren, 21, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 38 points. Not a lot of free throws, actually. 5 of 6 from 3. He was hitting those threes at some point. He was draining them. 4 assists. Jalen Williams, 22 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds. AJ AJ Mitchell 10, Kason Wallace 4, Aaron Wiggins 11. They were just the better team, and they got all their guys back. This is what you expect from a championship team. The big three: Chet, Shai, Jalen, all played very well. It looked effortless at times. It looked demoralizing at times. It didn't even look like they were trying at times, but it still looked beautiful. Um, and yeah, that's it. That's the video. Yeah, that's it. Um, do I have anything else to say? No, I don't think so. We I am monitoring the Giannis situation. He did get injured last night, so he's out 2 to 4 weeks with a calf injury. So we'll see what happens with him. He did pseudo kind of request a trade, so I'll keep you guys updated on that. Um, and NBA Cup stuff. The elimination rounds start, or was it not tonight, but the 9th. So soon. We'll cover that when we get to it. I said in last yesterday's video there was gonna be a video this weekend. I changed my mind. No video this weekend. We'll take it easy. You guys got an extra video with the Chris Paul video anyway. So if you want to check that out again, just click my profile or yeah, just click my profile. The video's up. The Chris Paul stuff. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.